I got a letter from Orville Williams, who's very upset that B Company wasn't in the book that I put out. So
Orville Williams in Oklahoma.
Yes.
He was in my tank the day he got hit.
Oh, was he?
And I've never seen him since. He was what they called an assistant gunner. In other words, the fifth man in a tank.
The bow gunner?
No.
Assistant driver?
No, the bow gunner is the assistant driver.
Okay.
You had a driver that sat here, a bow gunner was over on this side. You had a gunner the back here that fired the big cannon, and an assistant gunner that loaded it.
The loader, okay, that's how I had heard it.
And so he was the loader, and he was in my tank the day that he got hit, the first day that we seen action. We went out that morning, and I don't remember whether we lasted, whether it was 10 o'clock or somewhere around there. We started out at daylight, and by 10 o'clock, we was...
10 in the morning?
Yep. We confronted a German tank that had to drop on us, and he got us before we could get in.
That was July 3rd.
Killed a driver, and...
that wasn't...
Mitchell.
John Mitchell?
Yep. And Zygmunt Kaminsky was the bow gunner, and as I recall, I think he got out of the tank without a scratch, and then got shot after he got out of the tank. And Williams got, as I recall, I think he got shot in the wrist. I don't know whether he's ever been able to use his arm since then. And Vernetti was the gunner, and it seems to me like he got hit in the foot. And I got hit in the leg. And I was up in the tank commander up in the turret, and when I went out of the tank, I went over the side and went right on over, because there'd been an infantry guy, an infantry officer killed right beside the tank that was trying to talk to me. While he was talking to me, he got shot. And every time I'd stick my head out of the turret, why, they'd spray that across there with machine gun, and I couldn't get the machine gun located. But eventually what happened, I mean, to jump ahead of it, by our being there and drawing some fire and returning some that, you know, you don't want to shoot if you don't know who the people are, whether yours or theirs. But we drew enough fire off of them that we got a company of infantry out of there. So our mission was accomplished, even if it cost us a tank and a driver. And
these are the other 4 tanks in the platoon?
The other 4 tanks were, I don't know where they was at. We'd got separated.
Oh, so you still, in your disabled tank, were firing to get the...
No, we was firing until we was disabled. When it was disabled, we evacuated damn quick, because they hit it after the first round come through, and as far as I know, the first round done all of the damage. It killed Mitchell, and it hit me, and it hit Vernetti, and it hit Williams, and Kaminsky went out the bottom of the tank. There's an escape hatch, and he went out the bottom, and I went out and went over the top, and I knew that I didn't dare stay there, or I didn't know where the machine gun was at, but I knew that in fact there was on the hatch that closes, I had one side open, and it had a little foam rubber padding on it so you wouldn't bounce your head again, and that was riddled with machine gun fire. So I knew I didn't dare stay there. So I went right on over a hedgerow and got out and hoped that I was out of the line of fire. And I waited for the other people to come to me, and nobody ever came. Well, they went the other direction. They didn't know where I'd went, so they went the other direction. When I got to the aid station, why, Kaminsky come in, and he'd been shot in the thigh, I think it was, with a sniper bullet. I assume that's what it was, and I was surprised. I thought he got killed when Mitchell did, because I couldn't see. I could see Mitchell from where I was at, but I couldn't see Kaminsky. And then they hit it 4 times. After they done the bush damage, they hit it 4 times, and eventually it burned and blowed up. So there wasn't any fighting or any return fire or anything. After that first round went in, we was through.
Had you just come around a corner when you...
No, we'd been sitting there for quite a while. But the German tank come around the corner. They knew where we was at, and they come around and had us before I was sitting. Our tank was headed this way, and we had a gun headed over this direction. And I looked up and seen the tank coming, and I hollered, you know, and I had a control that I could switch a master control to bring the gun around, and hollered tank. Well, when I hollered tank, it was automatic. That you took we had a high explosive shell in, and the guy opened it up and to get rid of the AP and put in the HE and put in an AP, and that was the wrong thing to do. It was the right thing for the way they was trained. It was the wrong thing for the circumstance, because while he was unloading and reloading, they got the shot in. And if we'd have hit him with an HE, even though it wouldn't have hurt him, it might have stunned them enough that or slowed them down from the debris and the smoke and stuff that we could have got another shot in. But it didn't happen that way. But I always thought that if we'd have fired the shot instead of going through the reloading motions, if we'd unloaded the gun just by pressing the trigger, it might have saved it. But I also am a believer that it don't make any difference where you're at when your time's up, you're going. And that day, my time wasn't up.
Now, where were you wounded in that?
In the leg.
And how long did it take to recover?
Oh, it didn't take us long to recover, really, as it took to get back. I was in the hospital for 6 months.
Really?
That was the 3rd of July, and I actually got back into combat on the 13th of January, right in the tail end of the Battle of the Bulge.